Welcome back to another episode of Dragons in America. Are we the Dracons, the dragons found in the Americas? Let's go. We made it to episode 9, so you know it's special, right? We just getting a bird's eye view, right? Evolving and ascending. It's only by the dim spark of the hidden light may we see, if allowed to see clearly. Let's go. Episode 9, man. We got a bird's eye view. We're just following the drinking gourd, right? We're just connecting dots, right? So again, we talked about Solomon the Builder, aka Sylvanus Texas, in the last episode, and his connection to the Swan Knights, right? But again, we're just keeping our water flowing, right? This is special, man. And all praises to the Most High for, giving us this perspective and allowing us to connect the dots. It's always a little Genghis Khan and Prester John, but also King David, or maybe we're talking King Arthur and the seed of our fathers. Because this is just what? Lost tribes and promised lands, the seed of Abraham. Roman Jews in Kalelus, or Hebrews in the Andrus. Let's go. Episode 9. We're back. We deserve to be here. And I'm excited for this one. I had to really dig deep for this one. Hey, man, I hope you enjoy it. Let me know what you think. Leave a note in the comments. Let's get it. Episode 9, Dragons in America. Let's go. Let's go. We're just having a bird's eye view, right? Just a bird's eye view. Just a little perspective, Just a little perspective. We're going to get our Indian flute going and keep our water flowing. Let's go. So Section 107 of the Copyright Act provides the statutory framework for determining whether something is a fair use and identifies certain types of uses, such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. We're just talking about research, man. We're just recon, we're just connecting the dots, we're just following the drinking gourd, man. You're climbing the mountain, man. Whatever you want to call it. Just talking research. 107. Let's get it. Dragons in America, episode 9. Are we the Dracons, the dragons found in the Americas? Halal. Wow. Let's go. May we see clearly. So again, we're just staying in check, searching for Melchizedek. Alright. So, we talked about the covenant Hawa made with Abraham, but let's get into it. There's also the Davidic covenant, right? This is the covenant where Hawa promises a descendant of David to reign on the throne over the people of Hawa, the power of Israel. It is a continuation of the earlier covenants, like we talked about. Hawa revealed himself to Abraham. Abraham believed on him. So now Hawa is making a covenant with the seed of David as well. So again, Hawa promised David that his son would build a temple. We're talking Solomon the Builder, right? That the power would dwell with his people and that David's throne would be established forever. David's throne would be established forever. One more time. David's throne would be established forever. And Solomon built a temple, but this temple was destroyed when the Israelites went into exile. So again, remember, it's only by the dim spark of the hidden light may we see, if allowed to see clearly, because definition is spiritual idolatry, man. And we know this is why the Israelites went into exile. So remember, do your part to keep your mark. Let's go, episode 9. So, we're just talking, the Melchizedek, the line, the lineal covenant between the patriarchs of the Hebrew nation, right? So we're talking Noah. So from the ark, he used the book, the wisdom, all the days of his life. He handed it down to Abraham. But really, they're talking about Shem. He handed it down to Shem, and Abraham to Isaac, and Isaac to Jacob, and Amram to Moshe, and Moshe to Joshua, until generation by generation, King Solomon arose. So we're just talking the wisdom. We're talking, that dim spark of the hidden one, right? Revealed, Hawa inspired men. Hawa inspired men. They're not claiming to be Hawa, but the power of Hawa dwells with them. It dwells. And it says, and so ruled over everything he desired. We're talking King Solomon the builder, over all the spirits and the demons. So Solomon, with the power and the wisdom of his fathers, had, rule or control over everything he desired with the power of Hawa, only with the help of Hawa, right? And remember, it says, for many books were handed down to him, but this one was found more precious and more honorable and more difficult than any of them. Happy the eye that will behold. So remember, we're just talking the lineage. You see, it says insert Shem into the chronology. So here, from the ark, Noah used the book, the same book that gets passed down to Solomon the builder, and he hands it down to Shem, and Abraham to Isaac, and Isaac to Jacob, and Amram to Moshe, and Moshe to Joshua, until generation, until Solomon the king arose. Right? We're talking the Davidic covenant, the covenant, between our fathers and Hawa, right? The promise. Happy the ear that listens attentively to its wisdom, for in it are the seven firmaments, and all that is in them. From their encampments we shall learn to comprehend all things, and to have success in every deed, to think and to act from the wisdom of this book. We're just talking the wisdom, the wisdom of Solomon, right? We're talking Proverbs 8. Now therefore, ye children, hearken unto me. We're talking wisdom. We're talking your breath, your security. For happy are they that keep my ways, hear instruction and be wise, and refuse it not. Happy is the man that hearkeneth to me, watching daily at my gates, waiting at the posts of my doors. For whoso findeth me findeth life, and obtaineth favor of the power. But he that misseth me wrongeth his own soul. All they that hate me love death. We're just talking wisdom. We're talking the breath of the power of hear instruction and be wise, and refuse it not. So we know we're getting this wisdom. It's passed down from the beginning, right? It's a lineage from Noah to Shem, from Abraham to Isaac, from Isaac to Jacob, from Amram to Moshe, from Moshe to Joshua, until King Solomon arose, right? We're just talking the covenant, right? Continuation of the earlier covenants, right? And David's throne would be established forever. And David's throne, right? Hear instruction and be wise, and refuse it not. For whoso findeth me findeth life. We're talking about wisdom. It's powerful, man. Let's go, episode 9. So again, we're just staying in check, searching for Melchizedek, right? So it says in the Bible, Melchizedek, also translated Melchizedek or Melchizedek, was the king of Salem, right? We're talking Jerusalem, right? And priest of El Elyon. We're talking El Elyon, we're talking Elohim, we're talking the Lord of heaven and earth, we're talking the power of Israel, we're talking the Most High, right? He is first mentioned in Genesis, and he blesses Abram and the Most High, El Elyon. Again, but remember, we walk a fine line, but all praise to the Most High, allowing us to connect the dots. But this Melchizedek is first heard of in Genesis, and he blesses Abram and the Most High, right? But we're always dodging the hijack. It says El Elyon, the Lord of heaven and earth, corresponds to no actual deity in the Canaanite pantheon. We're not talking Canaanites though, we're talking the Most High. He has been artificially set up through the combination of the El, the Lord of with Elyon, the Lord of heaven. In other words, he is a result of theological speculation. This is what they're saying. He is the result of theological speculation. We're just talking the Most High, right? The power of the armies of Israel, right? We're talking lost tribes and promised lands, the seed of Abraham. But we know this Melchizedek blesses Abraham and the Most High, right? So, a figure of importance in biblical tradition because he was both king and priest. We're talking priests, kings, priests, khans. Remember, we're talking priests, kings, priests, khans of the Toltecs, right? We're talking Mexico, but we're talking Melchizedek, right? In America, right? Americans, man. And Melchizedek was a king and priest, revered by Abraham, who paid a tithe to him. Revered by Abraham, who paid a tithe to him. So Abraham paid a tithe to the priest king, the priest Khan, the Melchizedek, right? We're just talking, a continuation of earlier covenants, right? The Most High and the seed of Abraham and the seed of David, right? And Noah, right? Some Christians hold that Melchizedek was a type of Christ, and some other Christians hold that Melchizedek indeed was Christ. So now, we've been digging on this. We know this is the rift. You got Nestorianism saying that this was a type of Christ. He was inspired by Hawa. And then you got the other Christians saying, no, he indeed was Hawa. But we know you can't be Hawa. You can't claim to be her power. You can't claim to hijack the other sons and daughters of the power. And as we continue to dig, we'll see this come up more often. And hopefully you'll be able to see it too. We got to dodge the hijack. Again, we're talking a continuation of the lines of David, right? And Abraham, right? You can't jump in and then claim to be, hold the throne forever. It says, and David's throne will be established forever, right? But let's go. We're just talking Melchizedek, revered by Abraham, who paid a tithe to him. So it says, for Abraham to recognize the authority and authenticity of a Canaanite priest king is startling and has no parallel in biblical literature. So this throws them off because they can't make sense of this. But it's, it's saying Abraham recognizes this Melchizedek as the priest Khan, the priest king. And it says, this story may have reached its final formulation in the days of King David, serving as an apologia for David's making Jerusalem his headquarters and setting up the priesthood there. So the priesthood set up in Jerusalem, right, by King David, and Solomon builds a temple, right? That's the promise. But we're already knowing and we're connecting that Abraham is in contact with the king of Shalem, who is the Melchizedek, the priest king. And, they're saying that Melchizedek was a type of Christ, and then some others are saying Melchizedek indeed was Christ. But it can't be your power. You can't claim to be, you can't hijack the line and seed of David and claim to be, that your throne will be established forever. We're just talking the continuation of the lineage. We're talking lost tribes and promised lands, the seed of Abraham. So Abraham paying tribute to a Jerusalem priest king then would anticipate the time when Abraham's descendants would. Again, we're talking lost tribes and promised lands, the seed of Abraham, right? Just talking priest kings, priest khans in Jerusalem. Let's go. So again, 2 Enoch presents Melchizedek as a continuation of the priestly line. A continuation of the priestly line. So you got Enoch, Melchizedek. You got Methuselah, son of Enoch, directly to the second son of Lamech, the brother of Noah, and on to Melchizedek, right? Just talking, staying in check, and searching for Melchizedek. So Noah was the 8th man to hold the order of Melchizedek, the order of righteousness. When Noah died, the order was inherited by his son Shem. We're just talking Shem, right? And then from Shem to Abraham, Abraham to Isaac, Isaac to Jacob, remember? But it starts when Noah was the 8th man, and then when he died, Shem, it was passed on to Shem. And it says in Genesis, a man with the title Melchizedek meets Abram, returning from defeating the invading kings. This priest was Shem, the oldest living patriarch in the line of the seed. So they're claiming this is a Canaanite priest king, but now we're talking about this Melchizedek being Shem. We're talking about the seed, right, of Noah, Shem, right, the oldest living patriarch in the line of the seed at the time. Right? And Abraham pays tribute to Shem, the priest king, right? But we're not talking about, Shem claiming to be Hawa. Come on, man. Shem is inspired by Hawa, right? He's inspired. He's got the wisdom, right? And the wisdom is passed down generation to generation by the seed. If you're not of the seed, I don't know how you can claim to be Melchizedek. Again, we're just connecting the dots, following the drinking gourd. All praises to the Most High. Halal. Your breath, your power, your security. Again, the Melchizedek is a sequential order. A sequential order. The order of the Melchizedek began with Adam. There can only be one man serving as Melchizedek at any given time. There can only be one man serving as Melchizedek at any given time. It is a sequential order passed down from father to son, right? After Shem died, the title continued to be inherited. Like we saw, the title continued to be inherited. The wisdom is passed down from Abraham to Isaac, from Isaac to Jacob, right? And it continues down until David, until the King Solomon arose. Again, it is a sequential order. It began with Adam. There can only be one man serving as Melchizedek at any given time, right? One man, right? We're not claiming to be Hawa. These are Hawa-inspired people with the wisdom and power of Hawa, right? It says the title continued to be inherited from generation to generation until it reached Jesus. Until it reached Jesus, right? Who, through his earthly father, how can you claim to be the seed? How can you claim to be the seed of Jacob if you're a miraculous conception or immaculate conception? Then you're not of the seed of Joseph. Not. You can't claim. And then even the Christian Gospels claim that Jesus descends from the Davidic line. The Christian Gospels claim, right, and is therefore the legitimate Hebrew Messiah. This sounds like hijack. You can even see it is a sequential order, and it's passed down from generation to generation until it's hijacked, and then he becomes the Melchizedek forever. No, it's hijacked. There can only be one man serving as Melchizedek at any given time. It is a sequential order, right? Again, I'm not claiming to have this all figured out, but I can see the hijack when it appears its ugly face, and just you can see it. Sequential order, right? We have heard a voice of trembling. So now we're talking Jeremiah 30, if you needed a little more confirmation. We have heard a voice of trembling, of fear and not of peace. Ask ye and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. And it is a time of trouble unto Jacob, but out of it he shall be saved. Out of it he shall be saved. Jacob, the seed of Abraham, shall be saved. And it shall come to pass in that day, saith Hawa, the power of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and I will burst thy bands, and strangers shall no more make him their bondman, but they shall serve their power the Most High. And David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. And David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. Right? Again, all praises to the Most High. And shout out to Khan Drop, man, for lighting this fire, man. We're searching, man. We're just searching. We're just connecting dots. What's the Most High say? But they shall serve their power, the Most High. Wow. And David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. He made a covenant with David, their king, whom I will raise up unto them. We're not talking hijack city. Come on, man. We're just talking the Melchizedek, man. We're talking the sequential order passed down from generation to generation. But they shall serve their power, and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. Again, we're just talking copper-colored Khans found here, right? Again, we're just talking Aboriginal or copper-colored races found here, right? But now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America. Again, we're talking copper-colored races found here. Don't let them take your title, Khan. But okay, we know that Khan is the meaning of ruler, right? And we know that Genghis Khan took the title of Khan from Prester John, right? And a distinction was made between the title of Khan and that of Cook Khan, right? But we're just talking copper-colored Khans found here. Yeah, so remember, in the Prester John, the legend and its sources, we got Marco Polo, trying to unravel the legend of Prester John. And Marco Polo claims that Prester John was actually an Asian monarch. But we know Prester John is connected to this Toril Khan or An Khan or Wang Khan, who's also connected to King David. So then we have to start asking questions, right? We're talking Asian monarchs, but we're talking Khans, but we're talking Americans, right? The copper-colored races found here. We're talking lost tribes and promised lands, the seed of Abraham, right? So again, it says the Tartars, who are these Mongol Khans, right, under Genghis Khan, those are the Tartars. They paid a tax to one great lord, right? They paid a tax to one great lord, right? Are we talking Prester John? Are we talking King David? Are we talking, who knows at this point? We're just connecting the dots, right? It says paid tax to one great lord, who was called in their language Unk Khan, which means in French, the great lord. And this was the Prester John of whose kingdom everyone speaks, right? We're just talking Prester John, right? Prester John, right? The great lord, right? Right? The kingdom whom everyone speaks. But remember, they're looking from the outside in. This is Marco Polo's interpretation of what he's seeing, right? Or what he gained from being in the court of Kublai Khan. We're just talking Prester John, Khan. So again, just to give you some clarity, right? They're talking about Marco Polo saying that this kingdom of Prester John, there are many villages and castles. Many villages and castles. We're talking Americans, right? Castles, right? Or we just talking medieval romances, right? In Americans, right? They belong to the Grand Khan because the subjects of this Prester John belong to the Grand Khan, right? And they're talking about the lineage of Prester John, right? But they say Prester John is a Christian, but he's indeed not a Christian. We're talking land of Kalelus and the Hibarus, right? Hibarus, right? But we know Genghis Khan, so-called, overthrew Prester John, and then they start marrying the daughters of his family off to these Khans, right? These hijack Khans, right? But we know we're just talking the lineage, right? We're just talking the lineage. We're talking staying in check, searching for the Melchizedek. But we know Genghis Khan, right? And we know Genghis Khan's descendants, right, stabbed Prince Michael of Chernigov to death, a Russian prince, but we're not talking hijack Russia. We're talking Russian icons, right? Russian icons, right? Come on, man. Russian icons, man. Come on, dodge the hijack. And so it says Genghis Khan's descendant Batu Khan stabbed Prince Michael of Chernigov to death for his refusal to do obeisance to Genghis Khan's shrine in the pagan ritual. Note that Genghis Khan is depicted as a black man. So again, we gotta dodge the spiritual idolatry, man. But we know what happens, right? We're talking Russian icons, talking Genghis Khan, right? But we do know that the Tartars paid a tax to one great lord, the Khan, the kingdom whom everyone speaks, right? We're talking Prester John. The Asian monarch, right? The legend, right? Castles, right? Come on. Prester John is a Christian. We're not talking Christians and we're not talking Roman Jews. We're talking Hebrews, man. Let's go. Let's keep following the drinking gourd. You'll see. Again, you got Russian icons. You got Genghis Khan. Batu Khan, Genghis' grandson, I believe, stabs a Rus to death for refusal to do obeisance to a pagan ritual. So remember, this is all about, man. Dodge the hijack. Dodge the hijack, man. So we're just talking Rus, right? We're talking Russian icons. A Rus, right? Rus. Ancient people who gave their name to the lands of Russia and Belarus. Their origin and identity are in much dispute. I can see why, right? Can you see? Right? We're just talking in Rus, right? In clan Rus, right? And we know that the Tau, the last letter, right? The last letter of the Hebrew alphabet represents the fulfillment of the entire revealed word of Hawah. Your power, right? X marks the spot, right? X marks the spot, the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet. Again, we're just talking Proverbs 8. Doth not wisdom call, and understanding put forth her voice. We're talking the breath of the power of Hawah. Doth not wisdom call, we're talking wisdom, and understanding put forth her voice. In the top of high places, by the way, where the paths meet, she standeth. Let's go, man. Connecting the dots. Where the paths meet, she standeth. X marks the spot. Keep your Tau, keep your covenant, the fulfillment of the entire revealed word of Allah. Your power doth not wisdom call, and understanding put forth her voice, the first of his works, in the top of high places, by the way, where the paths meet. Where the paths meet, she standeth beside the gates at the entry of the city. Oh, just some of mama's cooking, man. Let's go, man. Let's go. The wisdom. Come on, follow me. Follow me. We're talking clan Rus. We're talking Andrus. We're talking Scotland. We're talking Russia. We're talking Belarus, right? Again, we're talking Russian icons. We're talking copper-colored cons found here. Priest kings. X marks the spot, right? Russian icons, right? Doth not wisdom call, and understanding put forth her voice, the first of his works, in the top of high places, by the way, where the paths meet, she standeth. Where the paths meet, she standeth. X marks the spot, the Tau, the entire revealed word of the power of Allah. Let's go. We're just gonna keep following the drinking gourd, man. We're in it. We're happy to be here. We're gonna keep our water flowing, right? We're just staying in check, searching for Melchizedek. Let's go. Let's go. So again, we're back into the forbidden history of the Americas. They're talking about King Nehemiah Theodorus, King of Saxony, Namas Duke of Bavaria, and his brothers were great warrior Davidic princes, right? In the time of Charlemagne, great warrior Davidic princes, right? Just talking Toril Khan and Prester John, but also King David. Man, come on, follow me. We're talking X marks the spot. We're talking where the paths meet, she standeth. We're talking the wisdom. May he who have eyes see clearly. We're talking Russian icons. We're talking Genghis Khan. We're talking Grand Khan. We're talking Prester John, right? The lineage, right? Come on, the kingdom who everyone speaks, right? We're talking Americans. We're talking the title of Khan that was took from Prester John. And then you seen what happened after Prester lost the title, right? You see what they're doing, man. Come on, X marks the spot. Where the paths meet, she standeth, right? Where the paths meet, she standeth. For he who findeth me findeth life. We're talking the wisdom, right? Prester John. But also King David, right? We're talking Asian monarchs, right? Come on, follow me. Come on, we're all over the place, right? We're talking Asia. We're We're talking Americans. We're talking Mexico. We're talking Russia, right? We'll see how it's all connected, right? But remember, never put a power before your power. Thou shalt have no other gods before me, says Allah, right? We're just talking learning and knowledge of Moshe. So, Kalei-Luz was part of the revived Western Empire of King Arthur. If we're talking Kalei-Luz, we're talking so-called Roman Jews, but really Hibarus, right? In the land of Kalei-Luz, Tucson, Arizona, where they find these artifacts. But now they're connecting King Arthur to a descendant of the Swan Knights, the Barber Hakatsi. But it says by the 8th century, due to admixture with the so-called American Indians, the state reverted to paganism. Well, keep on, follow me, and we see what happened with Genghis Khan, right? After he overthrew Prester John, right? We see what happened. We're talking pagan rituals. We're talking Russian icons, the Rus, right? X marks the spot. Come on, where the paths meet, she standeth. We're talking priest kings, right? Priest Khans, Khan and Prester John, but also King David. We're staying in check, searching for the Melchizedek. Let's go. So they're connecting King Arthur to a descendant of the Swan Knights. So then I had to ask, how is this King Arthur connected to the Swan Knights found in the Americas and King Solomon and the Swan boats, right? So it says Arthur is variously described as a warlord, as a Christian soldier who carries either an image of the Virgin or Christ's cross. Again, dodge the hijack. You see how they always want to insert this Jesus, right? We're not talking Christ's cross. We're not talking Christian. We're talking Hebrews. Come on. Hebrews in Nehemiah Theodorus. Where the paths meet, she standeth. They're saying that this King Arthur carried a towel. But we see who's carrying the towel. We're talking Hebrew, warrior, Davidic princes, right? Was King Arthur a warrior Davidic prince? And if so, why have they hid the story, man? It's just a medieval romance, right? Or is King Arthur affiliated with this Prester John, right? Or King David? I don't know, man. Only time will tell. But he keeps the mark, right? He's described as a warlord, warrior Davidic princes. He doesn't carry Christ's cross. He carries the mark, the seal, the entire revealed word of Allah, right? The wisdom. Let's go. A legendary figure associated with miraculous events. Come on, miraculous events, right? So, again, this history was a symbol, so you can already see that, this King Arthur is some mythical figure. They have to put his story together because they can't confirm or deny, right? But we know that through a variety of sources by a cleric under the patronage of King of Gwynedd, which will make the connection at the end, they come up with this King Arthur. But are they using this King Arthur to talk about King David? Or is King Arthur affiliated with the lineage and the line of King David? I don't know, but we're just talking medieval romances, right? The earliest reference to Arthur is in a poem, but if King Arthur's a mythical figure, legendary figure, and Prester John's a legendary figure, and King David's a legendary figure, you just do the math. I'm not claiming that I have this all figured out, but I can see that there's something going on with this historical record in all of these Hebrew warriors, right? And then I made the connection here. We're talking Marco Polo, right? Marco Polo, right? Who, says this Prester John is an Asian monarch. He's calling Kambulak, right? Kambulak or Kanbilak, the city of the emperor. Are we talking Kambulak? Or are we talking Kamalat, in Arthurian legend, the seat of King Arthur's court? We're talking Somerset, right? Somerset, Kambulak, Kamalat. And we know Kam is also a spelling of Khan, right? Come on, let's go. Kanbilak, Kambulak, Kamalat, the Arthurian legend, right? Come on, man. Why is it all connected? You tell me. Leave a note in the comments, man. We're just popping off. We're talking Arthur, who carries the mark, the cross, right? One more time. We're talking where the paths meet, she standeth. The wisdom, right? The entire revealed word of Allah. The Tao, right? Come on, man. Come on, man. All praises to the Most High, man. May we see clearly. Are we talking King Arthur? Or are we talking Prester John? Are we talking King David, man? Nigga, make up your mind, man. Come on, we gotta make up our mind, man. History is telling us it's all three different people, but is it all the same person? Or is it all the same story, we should say? Who knows, man? May we see clearly, right? We're just talking Somerset, right? We're talking 12, right? And again, this is one of my favorite. The 12, 12 reveals itself, right? 12 is everywhere. They even connected 12 apostles, 12 tribes of Israel, 12 knights of the round table, 12 months in a year, 12 imperial symbols in China, which we're talking Karakatai, we're talking Prester John, chief of the Black Katan, right? We're talking China, we're talking dragons, we're talking 12 tribes of Israel, we're talking 12 knights of the round table. 12 knights of the round table are found in Kamalat, Bulak, or Bilak, the city of the emperor, right? I mean, I don't know, man. Just connecting the dots, right? Then on one page, they connect the dots for you, right? 12 tribes of Israel, 12 knights of the round table, 12 imperial symbols in China, a pair of dragons, right? We're just talking dragons in America, lost tribes and promised lands, the seed of Abraham, right? Let's go. We're talking 12. Are we talking 12 tribes of Israel? Are we talking 12 knights of the round table? We're talking Russian icons, right? In Khans, right? Are we talking Kamalat or are we talking Kambulat? And are we talking 12 knights of the round table? Or are we talking 12 tribes of Israel? You tell me. But are we talking Prester John and King David? Are we talking King Arthur, right? So again, how did these Roman Jews in Calais loose, not talking Roman Jews, but Hebrews, find these hidden truths, man? Let's go, man. We just riding the wave, man, keeping our water flowing. So we know the priest kings, the priest khans, right? The priest kings, right? We're talking 12 knights of the round table. We're talking 12 tribes of Israel. We're talking King Arthur keeping the mark, right? King Arthur, descendant of the Swan Knights, right? We're talking warrior Davidic princes. We're talking Prester John, but also King David. We're talking priest kings or priest khans. Let's go. Let's go. Priest kings. Talk to Mexico now. Let's go. I'm gonna show you how it's all connected. So the priest kings of the Toltecs who moved south to Mexico, they abolished the human sacrifices of the natives, but they were restored after the rodents left America. We're gonna talk about the rodents, don't worry. But the priest kings, the priest khans, who are affiliated with King Arthur in Sylvanus Texas, Solomon the Builder, and Prester John, right? In Jerusalem, right? But we're talking Americans, man. Let's go. Episode 9. The priest king was heard of in Asia. We're talking Prester John. But they couldn't find Prester John, so then they start looking for him in the Americas. A profound effect on the history of European exploration and discovery. They're looking for Prester John, right? But again, we're just talking priest kings, right? Priest kings, Prester John. Abolish the human sacrifices of the natives. Again, put a power before your power. Do not follow strange gods. Keep your mark. Keep your Tao. The entire revealed word of Allah, right? Where the paths meet, she standeth. We're talking wisdom. So we know that this family's, going up against these Muslims, and they're going up against idolatry, and they're going up against all this stuff, right? We're talking, Rodrigo El Cid and his father Diego Lanez, who they're calling Jacob, and we're calling Lancelin. Are we talking Lancelin? Or are we talking Sir Lancelot, right? We're talking King Arthur. We're connecting the dots. Is this your story that they spun into a medieval romance? I don't know. That's just the question. Let me know what you think. So they married into the Davidic Exilarch family. We're talking Prester John, a hopeful ally against the Muslims. They're fighting Muslims in Spain, right? A more war, right? And And we know that Prester John is affiliated with the Kar Khatai, the Black Khatan, right? Chief of the Black Khatayans, the Khan, right? Who was destined to vanquish Islam, right? We're talking warrior Davidic princes. We're talking El Preste Juan, right? El Preste Juan, the Nestorian Christian, right? Which flourished under the Kar Khatai. Prester John, right? A hoped-for ally against the Muslims, right? We know Nestorianism talks about Hua inspired man, but branches of the Christian church have united in condemning Nestorianism and have affirmed that Christ is a single person at once wholly human and wholly divine. This is the divide, right? We're talking Hua inspired man, and then we got hijack. I am Hua. He is Hua. Hua is this. Hua is that. But it's only by the dim spark of the hidden light may we see, if allowed to see clearly. Definition is spiritual idolatry. We're talking the inspiration, the wisdom, right? Where the paths meet, you shall find me. Right? We're talking the wisdom, right? The power, the breath of Allah. We're talking Hua inspired man. We're talking Noah. We're talking Shem. We're talking Abraham. We're talking Isaac. We're talking Jacob. We're talking Moshe. We're talking Joshua. We're talking Hibarus and Kalelus. Hua inspired men, right? But the church has united in condemning Nestorianism because they think they know what the truth is, that Christ is wholly human and wholly divine. You can't hijack Hua. You can't claim to be your power, right? But we know that they don't like the idea of Hua inspired man. So then you have the doctrines of Christian discovery, which originate in the 15th century, the papal bulls, right? The sanctioned brutal conquest and colonization of non-Christians who were deemed enemies of Christ, right? An enemy of Christ was seen, but they're calling Nestorianism. A Hua-inspired man is an enemy of Christ, according to the definition of Nestorianism and the doctrines of Christian discovery, right? They're looking for Prester John in Africa. They couldn't find him in Africa, couldn't find him in Asia, so they went to the Americas. But are the Americas connected to Asia is the question. We're just talking El Preste Juan, Prester John, the Hua-inspired man, destined to vanquish Islam. Again, Hua-inspired man, so I thought I had to follow up. Check it out. We're talking the Lord Most High, your power, the power of the armies of Israel revealed himself and called him his beloved, and made a covenant with him and his seed, and Abraham believed on him. Hua made a covenant, and Abraham believed. Abraham believed. Abraham was inspired. Hua reveals. Hua reveals. Abraham believes. And he made this covenant between the 10 toes of the feet. This is like that of circumcision, and between the 10 fingers of the hands, and this is like that of the tongue. And he showed him all the mysteries. He showed him all the mysteries. He drew them through the waters. He kept the water flowing. He burned them in the fire. He kept the fire burning. He vibrated them in the air. 7 in the highest heavens and 12 in the celestial constellations of the zodiac. He revealed all the mysteries to Abraham. The wisdom that was with Shem, that was passed to Abraham, that was passed to Isaac, that was passed to Jacob, until it eventually reached David and King Solomon, right? The Most High reveals. Abraham believes, right? We're talking Hua-inspired men, right? We're talking where the paths meet. I stand, it's there. Talking the wisdom, right? The puzzling relics dug up in Arizona. They call it Roman Jews, but we're calling Hibarus, right? In the land of Kalelus, right? So again, let's make the connection. Talking Prester John, who we know was overthrown by the Mongols and Genghis Khan. Prester John was chief of the Black Khatan, Kar Khatai, Khan, right? Chief of the Black Khatayans, right? Who Genghis Khan overthrew, right? Chief of the Black Khatayans. We got Khatai here. So this is Orontius finds a map of 1531. He has Katai, right? We're talking Katai, we're talking Black Catan, we're talking Prester John. He has it labeled Asia, but this looks like Mexico, right? Because if this is Florida and this is the Gulf of Mexico, right? Mexico, and this is Katai, that means that this is Americans, right? We're just talking copper colored cons found here, right? We're talking the search for Prester John, right? But also King David, right? In Jerusalem, right? We're just staying in check, searching for the Melchizedek. And I don't know, man. We're on to something, though. Definitely, we're talking Prester John. We're talking Black Catan. We're talking Americans, right? And Mexicans, right? And Katai, right? Asia or Mexico, right? Or just all Americans, right? I don't know, man. Just following the drinking goal. So they translated the lead crosses, right? The lead crosses. They dug up in Arizona. They translated them, right? He adds glory to ancestral glory. Israel, defender of the faith. Israel, defender of the faith. He adds glory to ancestral glory. So this is what it says on these crosses. He flourishes in ancestral honor day by day. We're talking about the seed of Abraham, right? And Israel the third, who's banished for liberating the Toltexes. We talked about that in the last video, right? Israel the third's banished for liberating the Toltexes. But then Israel the fourth goes on a campaign of war against the Toltecs. But what stood out here, after Israel the third is banished, the earth shook. Fear overwhelmed the hearts of men in the third year after he had fled. They betook themselves into the city and kept themselves within the walls. So Israel the third is banished. The earth shook. Man, it sounds like some Quetzalcoatl when Quetzalcoatl left. Then the Spanish came over, man. But Israel the third's banished. The earth shook. Right? He's talking Israel the third. Right? With the help of Hawa. Nothing has to be feared. With the help of Hawa, Jacob rules with mighty hand in the manner of his ancestors, right? Because it was passed from Noah to Shem, from Shem to Abraham, from Abraham to Isaac, from Isaac to Jacob, until it reaches, the wisdom reaches Solomon, right? We're just talking with Hawa's help. The wisdom, where the paths meet, I standeth there. We're talking the wisdom, right? The mark, the Tau. Nothing has to be feared. Nothing, right? So then it says that this legend arose of Prester John, right? In the Holy Land. We're talking Jerusalem. We're talking Shem, right? We're talking the seed of Abraham. We're talking the artifacts found in Tucson, Arizona, right? And basically that, they're based on a report about Prester John, who they're claiming a powerful priest king, priest Khan, like, the Melchizedek, right? We're just staying in check. Reputedly a lineal descendant of the Magi. So you see how hard they're trying to connect it to JC, man. But we know if here's a lineal descendant, we're talking Melchizedek's. We're talking about the seed of Abraham. We're talking about the seed of Jacob. We're talking about the seed of David, the seed of Solomon, right? But somehow it gets hijacked, and then someone wants to reign as Melchizedek forever. Come on, man. Stay on your toes, man. Again, we're talking priest king. We're talking Prester John in the Holy Line. We're talking Jerusalem. We're talking Americans, right? The Katai, the Holy Land. They're talking Prester John. They're talking Holy Land. They're talking priest kings, right? Come on. We're talking Katai, right? Chief of the Black Catan. Come on, man. Stay with me. Stay with me. Let's go. So again, Prester John and the Black Catan. We know the Katai, right? The empire in Central Asia, but it had Asia labeled as Mexico, right? And we know this Taiyang Khan, or they're calling Great King John in Chinese, was defeated by the great Mongol ruler Genghis Khan. So Great King John, Prester John, chief of the Black Catan, right? In Central Asia, or Jerusalem, or Americans, man, let's go. Copper-colored tribes found here. We're talking about the seed of Abraham. Right. So it says, In 1221, Jacques de Vitry, Bishop of Acre in Palestine, and Cardinal Pelagius, a Western churchman accompanying crusaders, talks about the Muslim defeat by a certain King David of India. King David of India, we're talking Prester John, we're talking King David, right? King David of India, the son or grandson of Prester John. So they're making the connection too. So they're saying that maybe King David's not Prester John, but Prester John is the lineage of King David, which will make Prester John Melchizedek, one of the Melchizedeks, a lineal descendant, right? That's passed to David, that's passed to the rising King Solomon, right? But then they try to hijack and say this King David was probably none other than Genghis Khan, right? But we know, we're not letting this slide, man. We're not talking King David as Genghis Khan. We're talking Prester John, right? Come on, man. We're talking Priest King. We're talking 12 Knights of the Round Table. I gotta do it, man. I can't let them get past with that one, man. We're talking Prester John, right? Warrior Davidic princes, right? We're talking keeping the mark. We're talking Russian icons. We're talking dodging the spiritual idolatry. We're talking seeing clearly, right? Genghis Khan paid a tax to the one great Lord Unk Khan, the kingdom who everyone speaks, right? Prester John, the Asian monarch, right? He's not claiming to, come on, King David, we're not going to let him hijack. So Genghis Khan kills Prester John, unless King David kills Prester John, and I doubt that because we don't see that in any of the research, none of the recon. We see none of that about Prester John. I just had to do it one time for once. I'm popping off. It's episode 9. It's talking Prester John and the Black Catan, the Hoa inspired man, right? Hoa inspired with the help of Hoa. Nothing has to be feared. Talking priest Khans and Americans, right? So King David of India defeats the Muslims. They say he is the son or grandson of Prester John, right? And we dodged the hijack, right? And now we have to connect the dots. So they're talking King David of India. We're talking Katai. We're talking America. We're talking Mexico. And it's a lot to connect. So now we can visualize. Another map. We checked out Orontius Finds map, but let's check out the new Ova Tavola, Ducarta Marina, right? Let me know what you think, right? We're talking Florida, so we're talking Americans, right? We're talking Mexico, right? We're talking India Superior, so they're talking King David of India. Are they talking King David of India Superior, the American, right? We're talking Katai, we're talking Tengu. We're talking Mexico, we're talking China, right? The Black Catan, right? And how is it all connected to America? According to this map, right? According to this map, you got India, you got Florida, you got Mexico, you got Qatar, you got Tengu, and China all connected. What's the deal, man? We're talking Prester John, the Black Catan, but also King David. Let's go. Also King David. Let's go, man. Episode 9, man. Let me know what you think. I'm just following the drinking gourd, man. Just following the drinking gourd. We're talking St. John of Jerusalem. We're talking Prester John, right? Gotta be talking Prester John, right? What are the Knights of the Roads? Are we talking Swan Knights? Are we talking Knights of the Roads, right? A religious military order, right? In Jerusalem, St. John of Jerusalem, we have to be talking Prester John, right? Come on. Knight of the Roads, right? It says, that these roads, after 6 months, the knights capitulated, and on January 1st, 1523, sailed away with as many of the citizens as chose to follow them. For 7 years, the wandering knights were without a base. But in 1530, the Holy Roman Emperor Charles V gave them the Maltese archipelago in return, among other things, for the annual presentation of a falcon to his viceroy, right? So, these Knights of the Roads were affiliated with the Hospitallers of St. John of Jerusalem. We're just talking Prester John, right? And we know eventually, through it all, eventually they wandered for 7 years until Charles V's like, hey, well, I'll lend you this archipelago in return for who knows what, right? But it says they acquired Rhodes, which they came to rule as an independent state. We're just talking the Rodents, right? The same family that's, in Calais Loose, Knights of the Rhodes, were the scourge of Muslim shipping, like Prester John, destined to vanquish Islam, right? Remember, we're just talking Rhodes, right? We're talking Holy Roman Emperor Charles V. So again, Holy Roman Emperor Charles V, I have to make it clear. A lot of times we see it as black and white, but it's a more on more war, man. Sometimes it's hard to think about, but maybe your greatest enemy could be someone who looks like you, someone who's not keeping the code, someone who follows other gods, man. So remember, just talking Charles V, we're talking Prester John. We're talking about the colonization of non-Christians who were deemed enemies of Christ. And this pops off 1500, 15th century, papal bulls, right? I'm going to connect the dots. Connect them. Charles V didn't give Malta to the Knights. He let it to them under feudal contract again. He didn't give the Knights of the Rhodes nothing. He lent it to them for a return of what? Until the Rhodes could reconquer their own home or relocate, right? So again, we're just talking enemies of Christ. So anyone who is a Hua-inspired man, right? You're looking for Prester John, right? In the Americas, right? And here's some more hijacks. So check it out. So there's this, these are the Incas, right? Look at all the Incas up until you reach Carlos Quinto, who is Charles V, right? He switched up the whole swag, man. We're talking Charles V, the Conqueror. So remember, sometimes these titles are hijacked, but you also have to remember that you're not just fighting against, the invaders. You might be also going against tribe and going against people who look like you. But again, we're talking Sylvanus Texas and Nehemiah Theodorus and Calais Luz and Solomon the Builder, the hereditary ruler of the Hebrew colony, right? Solomon the Builder, right? It says Calais Luz was founded in the 1st century by Sylvanus Ogam, Solomon II, ruler of Somerset in Britain, ruler, Khan of Somerset in Britain, Camelot, Somerset. Are we talking King Arthur? Are we talking King David? Are we talking Sylvanus Ogam? Are we talking Prester John, man? Ancestor of the Swan Knights, right? Soldier and ruler of Somerset in Britain. The same ruler as King Arthur and Camelot. Khan Bilak, right? We're talking copper-colored Khans found here, right? And after Sylvanus Texas defeated, the royal family is sent back to Europe under the protection of the Rus, right? And then we know this family is affiliated with all these legends. The Mananan are made of America. We're talking copper-colored Khans found in America, right? The Swan Knight family that came to Charlemagne's court in a swan boat. The Swan Knight's ancestors had come to Ireland as well. The Irish legend of Regamon also allude to this family. We're talking about Melchizedek's, man, the line of the power, the wisdom of Hua. They reign over all this, and it seems as if their stories keep getting intertwined with all these histories and legends, right, and myths. So it says Nehemiah Theodorus conquered the ancient city of Rhoda, and the Jewish law, the Hebrew law, was restored. We're talking laws and commandments, right? We're talking Rhoda, we're talking Knights of the Rhodes, right? We're talking St. John of Jerusalem, right? And after Nehemiah Theodorus left America, he appointed a British Davidic prince Jacob as Hebrew king of Calais Luz, as regent for his young son Israel, who was married to Jacob's daughter. Again, we're talking lost tribes and promised lands. We're talking the seed of Abraham, right? And Jacob was a descendant of King Arthur as well as the Jewish royal family. Jacob was a descendant of King Arthur as well as the Jewish royal family. we talking King Arthur? Are we talking Prester John? Are we talking King David? Are we talking Abraham? Man, come on. Let's go. We're just talking about the Melchizedek, the sequential order of the patriarchs passed down from father to son. And we know Kalelus, there was two main groups, the Frankish Empire and the British group. So we got Hebrews running France, we got Hebrews running Britain, we got Hebrews holding down the Americas, we got Hebrews holding down China, we got the Hebrews holding down Russia. Man, let's go. We're just talking ancient royal family, the Hebrew royal family. So again, we're talking Sylvanus Ogam, the great Hebrew warrior who defeated the giant American emperor of Ogam, the giant American emperor of Ogam, right? So Sylvanus Ogam defeats a giant. King David defeats a giant. I mean, it's all here, man. We just gotta put the pieces together, put the puzzle together. Let me know what you think. Leave a note in the comments. We got America to Europe, Americans and Europeans, right? But we know that it's all connected. This family's ruling over pretty much everything until they lose their way. And enemies can intrude due to paganism and due to admixture, man. We're just talking about Mexico, we're talking America, we're talking European legends, man. We're talking King Solomon the builder. So remember how we connected Solomon in the last episode. King Solomon, the wisdom is passed down to Solomon. The wisdom, right? In him dwells a supernatural power. In him dwells a supernatural power, the wisdom. And the Archangel Michael brings him a ring, and he is a possessor with power over all demons. So King Solomon's got the drop. He's got the wisdom. He's got the power of the Most High. He can't be stopped, right? We're talking King Solomon. But remember, this is the beginning. King Solomon and the wisdom say, don't worry about the beginning and the middle. Let's focus on the end. So beginning, end. And when I answered that I would on no account worship strange gods. I would on no account worship strange gods. So Solomon's talking, to somebody. He's saying, I would on no account worship strange gods. But he said, he drank the Kool-Aid, unfortunately, but, we got the drop. We got the wisdom. And told the maiden not to sleep with me until I complied and sacrificed to the gods. I then was moved. But, Eros, the demon, brought him some grasshoppers and told him to sacrifice to the god Moloch. And at once, the spirit of Huah departed from me. At once, the spirit of Huah departed. So, Solomon drank the Kool-Aid, but we know the wisdom was passed down to Solomon, right? And we know the Israelites went into captivity right after this. The kingdom is split and enemies abound, right? He became the sport of idols and demons. He says, in this testament, ye who get possession of it may pray and attend to the last things and not to the first, so that ye may find grace forever and ever. So Solomon wants to pass on the wisdom the only way he can now. He just has to give his testament of how on no account should you worship strange gods, right? For at once the spirit of Huah departed from me. Right? We're talking Huah inspired men, but Huah is a redeemer, man. He granted the conquered pagan Toltexis independence. We're talking Israel the Third, right? Israel the Third grants the pagan Toltexis independence, right? So we know that this family comes to Kalelus, right? Comes back to Kalelus, and this so-called Solomon the Builder, lost his way. He drank the Kool-Aid, so they conquered the Toltexis and restored the Hebrew law. And then Israel the Third grants the Toltexis independence, and he is banished for this. Then his son Israel the Fourth replaces him and begins a campaign of war against the Toltecs. So it's all popping off in America, right? The Americans, right? But we're just talking priests, kings of the Toltecs, right? How this is all connected to these rodents, right? So the priests, kings of the Toltecs who abolished the sacrifices of the natives, but they were restored after the rodents left America. So they were sacrificing to other gods. You had the priest kings, the priest khans trying to hold it together, but they ended up leaving. The rodents left America. We just talked a Desideria de Rhodas. Road to Greece, where these St. John of Jerusalem and the Knight of the Roads are occupying this Rhodas, and they wander for 7 years until Charles V grants them some land for exchange for whatever. With the papal bull falling off and these conversos, that times were treacherous for Hebrews and Roman Jews, right? But we're talking priest kings, we're talking Prester John, we're talking priest kings, we're talking priest khans in America, right? But the Rhodans, who are the Knights of the Roads, who are also the priest kings, left America at a point, right? And then the remnant remained. And then there's another Nehushtan of Kalei-Luz, right? But we're just talking Israel III, who was banished, right? But he was replaced by his son, Israel IV. Israel III is where you get all this Quetzalcoatl drama. We call it Quetzalcoatl. A lot of that information reminds me of Moshe, right? Priest of Quetzalcoatl. We're talking priest kings, right? Who left Cholula for Rhoda in about, 1000 AD. He rejoined the remnant of the Rhodans, right? We're talking Rhodans, we're talking St. John of Jerusalem, we're talking Prester John, we're talking priest khans and Americans, copper-colored tribes found here, right? So Quetzalcoatl, priest king Quetzalcoatl, is a civilizing influence. He's driven out by other gods and heads east into the rising sun. Learning and knowledge, Quetzalcoatl, a civilizing influence. It sounds like Moshe. He tries to give you the learning and knowledge, but he's driven out by other gods, right? He rejoins the remnant, right, and leads back to the Latin Jewish Rhodans, right? Back to La Juderia, right? We know that their central symbol of the cross, right? We're talking where the paths meet. I stand there. We're talking the wisdom, right? We still have the wisdom, right? And it's talking the feathered serpent associated with Topilzin, who's also priest king, priest Quetzalcoatl. Recalls these Nehushans that were the symbol of the religion of the Roman Kalei-Luz. They weren't a symbol of the religion. They were, the mark, the cross, the tau, the entire revealed word of Yahweh had to punish the Israelites for speaking against him and Moshe. He sends the fiery serpents, right? But he still protects the tribe, right? By, telling Moshe to erect what they end up calling the Nehushtan, to protect them from the bites of the fiery serpents for speaking against him and Moshe. We're talking Seraphim, right? Priest kings and Topilzin, right? But we're just talking Quetzalcoatl and the priest khans, the copper-colored khans, right? So again, thanks. We riding the wave. So this Prince Madog Owen Gwynedd, who's also affiliated with this story of King Arthur, right? Because under the patronage of King Gwynedd, we're talking Prince Gwynedd, right? They come up with the story of King Arthur. But Owen Gwynedd leaves these notes. He says, though the language is radically the same, yet Mr. Jones, especially when treating of abstracted subject, was hardly intelligible to them. Without some explanations, we are told that the religious worship of the Mexicans, with all its absurdities, was less superstitious than that of the ancient and learned Greeks and Romans. But we're not talking Mexicans, we're talking Hibaru, the warrior Davidic princes found in Kalei-Luz, right? And where did the Greeks and Romans get their information, right? If it's all passed down through the Melchizedek, we're talking St. John of Jerusalem, man. Let's go. May we not hence conclude that the Mexicans derive some part of their religious knowledge from a people enlightened by a divine revelation. So they're already telling you, we're talking Hawaii inspired, man, enlightened by a divine revelation, right? Come on, man, connect the dots, man. So this same guy is the same guy who the cleric under the patronage of the King of Gwynedd comes up with the story of King Arthur. Are they talking about King Arthur? Or are they talking about you? Are they talking about the Hibarus in Kalei-Luz? Are we talking King David and Prester John? Or are we talking Khan and Wang Khan? Man, let's go. Copper-colored Khans found here. Episode 9. Again, just to, one final, we're just talking Hawaii inspired, man. Moshe is a witness. Hawah reveals his name to Moshe. Hawah revealed himself to the Israelites. No, we're talking Hawah inspired, man. People enlightened by divine revelation. We're talking Meshikans, man. They're calling your power superstitious, man. Enlightened by divine revelation, man. Hawah told Moshe to erect the bronze serpent so the Israelites who saw it would be protected from the dying bites of the fiery serpents for speaking against him and Moshe, right? We're talking serpents are the seraphim, right? We're talking Topilzin, right? Come on. Priest of Quetzalcoatl, the priest kings, the priest khans. We're talking Israel the third and Kulkul Khan and Quetzalcoatl, associated with learning and knowledge, driven out by other gods, right? Speaking against him and Moshe, right? We're just talking to people enlightened by divine revelation. Moshe is a witness. Hawah reveals. Hawah revealed, right? It was revealed to Noah. The wisdom was passed from Noah, to Shem, to Abraham, to Isaac, to Jacob, to eventually reach King David, and then to King Solomon, man. But remember, where the paths meet, X mark the spot. That's where wisdom remains, man. Again, all praises to the Most High. Allow us to see clearly, for it is only by the dim spark of the hidden light may we see, if allowed to see clearly. Allow. Let's go. Dragons in America, episode 9. Let's get